theoretically. Right, so that goes on there. Can't really. I can do that. That's fine. I think that will work. Hopefully. I may have. And Hearts of Iron, and when it loads up, I'm not going to skip, play, go. Right, I'm hoping this actually now works. Right, stream is continuing, good. Hearts of Iron should pop up on the screen, I hope. Maybe not. I know it's 5 seconds behind. I've got to wait till this screen dumps until I can actually try and work out what's going on. Hearts of Iron. Yeah, I'd love to play Hearts of Iron, but sometimes it has some issues with streaming. Until I can actually do my hello person, I'm having serious technical difficulties as usual. I should just call this, oh, I can't call it technical difficulties because that's Matt and Tom's, is it? Tom, not Tom Scar, the other one. Tom Scott, that's his technical difficulties, is one of his thing. So, right, why is this not? Source, Hearts of Iron, refresh, Hearts of Iron, okay. Okay, I'm going to have to stop the stream and restart it, and hopefully it will start working. Hopefully. Right, this should hopefully now work. Theoretically. Okay, I think we're good. Are we good? Yes. 5 minutes of trying to get Hearts of Iron to actually work, because OBS doesn't like to necessarily record, so yeah, it can be a little bit interesting. I should just make sure that, yeah, microphone's working. Okay, right, that's not going to deafen me with audio, and I think we're good to go. Right, so, hello everyone, I'm Iron Phoenix, and welcome to Hearts of Iron 4. I always get a little bit confused with the Roman numerals, because they're weird. I know it's easy to like carve it in stone, but anyway, let's jump into a game and start a new game. 1936, the United Kingdom, of course. Difficulty veteran, Iron Man mode, historical AI focuses, and start. I think I know what went wrong last time. I've been playing some of Hearts of Iron past couple of days, and I just wanted something a little bit more, again, sort of a change of pace from what we've been doing with Half-Life. I will be going back to Half-Life Sunday at the latest. I just wanted to try some other games on stream, just kind of see how view counts worked and that sort of thing. And I know that Hearts of Iron was reasonably popular last time, and I'd quite like to, you know, go back to it. And also, Hearts of Iron gave a sort of almost like a change of pace. I could just talk about stuff, which I can't really do necessarily when I'm playing Half-Life. You know, I can talk about history, I can talk about current events, I can talk about stuff while things are going on the screen. So I can talk, for example, about the Alex Mayer stuff while things are going on the screen, and you know, it's quite a nice little thing to do. And I worked out a few things where I went wrong last time in Hearts of Iron. Firstly, I was not making the armies that I should have been doing. I wasn't getting the manpower, and as a result, I wasn't getting the troops that was required to actually get some invasions going out. I just wasn't expansion is probably the wrong word, but I just wasn't building the forces that I needed to actually invade places or defend places. Like, you know, for example, I still had, you know, one troop down in Gibraltar, feeling a little bit, you know, terrified of what was happening, you know, around in the world. Right, so let's get some tech to research. We are in 1936. It would be an idea to get the Stokes mortar set up. So that's ready for 1938. Also, rather interestingly, I'm also going to start researching paratroopers because they are really useful for dropping them behind enemy lines and causing a little bit of a ruckus. Next up, I'm probably going to need some air. The Hurricane kind of comes to mind because the Gladiator, it's awful. So let's get the Hawk Hurricane up. And lastly, because we are playing on veteran mode and it's going to cause some problems, mechanical computing for getting the research time sped up. Okay, so that's my first 200 days sorted for research wise. I also need my national focus, which will be a limited rearmament, I suspect, or reinforce. No, yeah, we want to do reinforce the Empire down to colonial elite to begin with, because that will get us our research stuff. Right. I need to build infrastructure and I need to build civilian factories. Yes, some civilian factories just to start with. Just a few of those, as well as a couple more military factories and some anti-air just along the coast. So that will do that. Alright, we've got 3 military factories. This all looks reasonable, actually. I could get some more Vickers. Start making a bit of a stockpile of Vickers. How about that? That will do the trick. And oh yeah. So let's knock that up. So it's going to be 20 days before that support equipment is done, and then just the rest of it in infantry equipment, so that we can get our troops rearmed. Right, 3 dockyards. I'm going to leave as is. It'll be fine. Missing equipment. Production of artillery. Okay, so I'll just drop that one down by 1. Let's get some artillery up, which is the towed artillery. Because this is back in the day when we did things like have towed artillery rather than just sticking everything on tanks. Unassigned civilian divisions, low manpower. Yep. Insufficient resources. Yep. I do need to get some oil. Imported from the United States would probably be an idea, and then that will deal with that for the moment. Okay, and then we can just start blitzing it. Time will pass, things will happen in the world, but pretty much we're reasonably removed and we can chat about some things that have been going on. I know the I don't know if people have heard about the latest in the Alex Mayer situation. Yeah, it's gone interestingly. So basically what happened, so my last video that I did, proper video on the subject, I did mention that she had not replied to the court. Actually she did, a day and 3 hours later, with a single page document that was terrible. It was very, very short and it was a mess. It hadn't been spell checked, it hadn't been, checked for grammar or just fragmentation. It was awful. It was obviously very hurriedly put out, and of course she forgot to sign it, so she had to sign it, and then it had to be applied to the court. Then French at this point had filed for default, and then he filed for after she'd released that thing, she'd filed for a strike. So strike it, or possibly hold her in criminal contempt of court, and also strike the document. And the judge has denied it, both counts. He said that it isn't contempt, and he's also stated that they now have a certain amount of time for the first conference to do the bulk of the it's like sharing information, discovery. So each party shares evidence with the other party so that both parties can build up a defence. Right, Spain is now in a middle of a war. That's fine. So yeah, that's happened. Which, you know, we'll see. It might be that the judge is on Mayer's side, or it might be just that he wants to put her through the court system, so that it can be under no doubt that, I mean, you know, it may be the case that the judge has decided that what needs to happen in this situation is that both parties need to go through the court system, so that when the thing is issued, that Alex Mayer can't sort of go back to the court and say, well, you didn't do this properly, you know, and basically try and sue the court or something. Because that's the sort of mentality that this person is in, that it's very unpredictable. Unfortunately, we can't really get a particularly good insight into her brain at the moment, because her Twitter has been hijacked by someone else. She deleted her Twitter so often that somebody went in there and took the Twitter account, essentially, the Twitter name, which was annoying, because I can't find an alternate account for Alex Mayer, so it's very difficult to kind of look into the brain of the person who likes to tweet things, I don't know, without really necessarily thinking about it. So yeah, there's that. I should probably actually start building the Colonial Garrison. Actually, I'm going to start building Colonial Garrison, which are basically like infantry. Yeah, we'll make them in Gloucestershire, and we'll also build a couple, 3 units at a time, should be alright. Just sort of start pumping out some sort of infantry there. I think they're not proper infantry, but they're, you know, reasonable infantry. Right, okay. Probably should get some, anti-tank up? 1936, anti-tank or artillery. Let's get some anti-tank set up, because then I can add those into my infantry units. Yeah, I think I'll do that. I've been playing all sorts of stuff recently, so, you know, been doing a load of more Fallout, trying to do a stabby character, which is quite fun. It's actually quite fun trying to do sort of different builds of characters in that game, because I know it's not really sort of an original Fallout game, but it's, you know, it's a reasonable attempt at it, I guess. It's a nice atmosphere. The story sucks, but all of Bethesda's stories suck. You know, they've kind of gone the same way as, I guess, BioWare have gone the same way as Bethesda, in that they can't write stories to save their life. So yeah, I'm not really a fan of BioWare or Bethesda stories. I far prefer sort of the sort of darker take, I guess, from Obsidian. They like to go down some quite dark paths, and I quite like that. Okay, right. Ooh. I should probably get some air doctrine done. Strategic destruction seems to be a good plan, because then we get sort of little bonuses to things like ground support and that. That's more for I don't know. Battlefield support. I don't know. Let's go for air superiority. Air superiority was a really big thing back in World War II. You get the high ground, you get the air, you're sorted. It's why they like to impose things like no-fly zones over war zones, because, especially when you're sort of dealing with rebels, because obviously the rebels won't have the air support, and so they're going to be wiped out. So you kind of impose a no-fly zone over the top, where you've got a dictatorial government using air support against a rebellion. and you know that's why we had those no-fly zones over Syria. I think it was kind of try and level the playing field a little. Whether you agree with it or not, you know, that was basically the reason behind it. And it was a very big thing in World War II. I'm going to get limited rearmament. And yeah, that would be fine for now, because that will filter down into the Shadow scheme, which will get the additional research thingy-majig. Yeah, you might notice I'm a bit tired. It's been a long couple of weeks, so just having some chill streams pretty much. And I'll be flicking through a lot of these messages. You know, it's just flavor text. Just suddenly thought that actually this game probably has more flavor text. And oh, I've got updated equipment. Which one's Glossy Gladiator? Oh yeah, because I've just got the got the Hurricanes up. Yes, this game's probably got more flavor text than something like Fallout. Fallout 4 needed more flavor text. It needed more sort of interesting stories. It needed a main story that was actually interesting. At least, you know, the most that I can say for it is that at least they didn't have super mutants or the Enclave as, you know, another big enemy. Like Fallout 3 was just a smorgasbord of sort of past big bads in order to try and make it succeed. I mean, it was a reasonable game, but it just wasn't. It wasn't what I would have expected from a Fallout game. Right, 1934 Vickers A1E1. Give me the heavy tank, or I get Matilda, which was an incredibly Matilda. Matilda was a very good sort of light tank. It was quite slow in comparison to later tanks like the Cromwell. But it was part of this change in Hitler's focus, I guess, because after going up against various well-armored forces, the focus for Hitler's troops changed from I need to do details and then change the focus. I do want to do that. Yeah, it sort of changed. So instead of having focus on giving troops reliable weapons and building vehicles that are going to counter what their enemies sort of build against them, it was far more about the super weapon. He was always looking for that super weapon, and so much money went into trying to find these super weapons, or so much time and money and resources went into trying to find these super weapons, that actually it was quite a big part of his downfall, actually. That and annoying the Russians. Should probably get some industry up. Yeah, let's get construction. I can do that one, can't I? Yeah. And I can modify my government a little. And something that I want to do is it silent workhorse? Yeah, it's this guy. Get him up first. Sorry, my throat's gone all weird. Gone a bit croaky. Yeah, so this guy increases political power gain, which is going to be really, really useful later on when we get some major sort of hits to our political power, because we need that political power gain to give little boosts to things like research and production and all that sort of thing. And also changing things like the conscription law. And yeah, scraping the barrel. Yeah, just get everyone in. You pretty much don't need to do that from what I've found. I mean, last game where I was doing reasonably well, not last streamed one, but the one that I've been playing today, actually limited conscription was doing very well for me. But right now, we're still pre-war. I mean, nothing is really going on. I mean, there's a lot of sort of little hints that maybe something isn't quite right. But there's nothing really necessarily to say that anything is wrong. I mean, Hitler is rising to power and he's doing some good things for the German people, or at least on paper he's doing some good things for the German people. Because quite a lot of Hitler's rise to power was sort of getting in getting in touch with the workers, the workforce, which are going to be 99% of the country, and so building factories to make cars, building the people's car, which was the Volkswagen Beetle. Of course, the Volkswagen Beetle never actually appeared until 1960 something, when some other company sort of picked it up and made it. But the design for it was pretty good, all in all. But unfortunately, those factories that would have been used to build the Beetle, had Hitler actually not had other reasons for needing to build these factories, yeah, all those factories just went into the war effort. You know, it was a cover. But it would have been the people's car. And he built, you know, these massive holiday camps for the workers to go to. And it would basically be like a Butlins of sorts. These massive hotels that got built up. And it was all to do with getting the people on side, getting them to support him. And also to rebuild Germany from all this depression that had been going on for so long. And it did, you know, it really did change the country and turn it into the powerhouse that actually we see today. They followed on from that idea of industrial concerns, and actually they've been doing really well as a result. Germany is basically the industrial powerhouse of the EU at this point. They all have their reasons for existing all over the EU. You know, France, for example, France is very big on nuclear capability, and if you want a nuclear reactor, you buy it from France at this point, because they've done so much good, solid work on reactor technology. But yeah, right. I should probably do destruction. That's going to be quite useful, especially when we start getting our bombers out. I've got more production, but I don't. Oh, I can actually afford. Okay, let's bring that up as much as we possibly can. Of course, that's got a. Yeah, so we need to bump the cap up if we can somehow. But for now, I've got to do the shadow scheme because that filters down to something awesome. The extra research slot, which is so useful. But yeah, how did we get on? Oh yeah, because we were talking about the Matilda. Because the Matilda, a unit of Matildas, let me see. So, Dunkirk, which is, was it there were two spots, and I cannot remember where. Oh, it might be up in Holland actually. Can't remember where the Matildas came from. Anyway, the Dunkirk evacuation. I've talked about this on stream before, but hey ho. Other people might be listening now. Yeah, the Dunkirk evacuation was going on, where you've got all these men on the beaches and they're being shelled and just being pounded again and again and again. They've got airstrikes coming in, all sorts. They're being evacuated by the British. And up in the top, up here somewhere, there was a unit of Matildas, a regiment of Matildas sat up here somewhere, and they'd heard about Dunkirk, and so they attacked a German convoy. And well, say a convoy is understating. It was a Panzer regiment, and sliced through them, really messed them up, and as a result, the Panzers never actually made it to Dunkirk. And back then every little helped, and it was after that point where you start to see bigger and slower but well armored German tanks sort of popping up, simply because there was this sort of concern that Britain was building the tanks that were able to destroy German tanks, and especially when we start to get things down to things like the 17-pounder artillery. Yeah, 17-pounder. This thing. 17-pounder ended up being put into an awful lot of tanks. The tanks sometimes needed to be rejiggered a little. Suddenly we had things like the Archer, where it was built on the back of a Valentine tank, but because the positioning of the turret of the Valentine is actually reasonably far forwards, so the 17-pounder had to be put lying along the back of the Valentine, turret at the front, twisted 180 degrees. It wasn't a turret, it was sort of a gimbaled thing. So flip your turret around 180 degrees so your gun lies across the back of the tank, firing backwards. Interesting idea. Downsides being that you're suddenly presenting, your soft armour and all your sort of extremely flammable bits towards the enemy, which may not necessarily have been the best of ideas all in all, but it filled a gap and it allowed sort of an early adaptation of the 17-pounder gun, which was vicious. Right, where are we in time period? So in 1937, Marines might be an idea, I guess, or actually get some land doctrine done. We were on Grand Battle Plan, but I can switch to something else. I mean, mobile warfare would probably be more my sort of style, fast, but mainly sort of infantry focused. But that would speed up sort of planning stuff. Let's go with that. So let's go with that. Oh, I probably should have done. Oh no, because I'm doing a load of infrastructure stuff, and then when that comes through, yeah, be fine. It'll be fine. Probably. So yeah, obviously playing Britain. Obviously, when all of this kicks off, I will be dealing with Germany, and because I know people see this, so I think it was at the start of the last one that I did where somebody asked, "Are you going to be attacking Germany, Italy, or Japan?" So Britain here, Germany will be going over here, Italy will be staying there pretty much, and Japan will be on the other side of the world. So I think you can kind of guess where I'm going to be heading. Oh, I've got outdated. Oh yeah, because I've got to get the Matildas going, and I've got no civilian factories running. So let's just get some sea forts built, just all along there. Just one of each, but it's going to get attacked by Italy a little. Not if I'm. I think the game is sort of built in with almost a failsafe to ensure that Britain can't just sort of sit in one place and turtle, and that failsafe is Italy. If the player doesn't move, you do seem to get hit by Italy a little bit, unless you actually attack. Ooh, Hindenburg has gone down. Oh no, Hindenburg has had a small leak. A diesel leak has been low. Yeah, some kind of leak on the Hindenburg. I didn't realise that the Hindenburg had a small accident before. Of course, the big fire that completely sunk airships. Right, okay, so we've got some stuff. So this is basically just a single-use research bonus that I can use on things, which I'm going to use on oil plants, and might be an idea to is it 1936? I don't know, get the Surrey class, because that leads into the Admiral. Let's do that. Oh, and I can get a modified government. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get industrial concern, boosting in industry. I think that's the way to play it for now. Because I mean, nothing is really happening at the moment. But one thing that I do want to do is start building some motorised divisions. 3 motorised divisions in, I don't know, Dover. And they're going to want the thingy. That one. The Austin K5. Just drop that down so we can start building those. 1 a week. Not great. But it'll do. People seem to really want to watch Hearts of Iron tonight. Weird. I never get this many people on my Half-Life streams. It's yeah. So yeah, I think what I'm going to be doing, I will be doing a series on this. I think it seems to be really popular. But I've kind of got to work out when to do it. Hello, another person. God, people are also friendly tonight. Weird. Must be that Wednesday feeling, if there is such a thing. Yeah, there's infrastructure destruction done, and then I don't know. Oh right, Spanish Civil War has finished. So that is all national. Where are we? God, the world's big. Nationalist Spain. Yep. So Spain is now nationalist. And I've got a unit of men there, and I should probably get some. God, where's my? Let me go to recruit and. God, Russian. I'm gonna have to. I'm not going to be making a habit of this, but I am going to have to translate that. Ooh, oh, for goodness sake. There we go. No. Simple, how are you? Tired. My usual state, really. Right. I think the world is just turning, really, at the moment. Nobody's really doing anything mean to one another. Makes a bit of a change from the real world. Oh God, I don't really know what to research at this point. Stuff. Can I just hit a research stuff button? Actually, that one would be a good idea. Getting Gloucestershire Sea Gladiator up. Oh, yeah, research the secret. Yes, thank you. Don't know what happened there. And I've got 3 civilian factories that are doing nothing, so I need to queue up a load of infrastructure just so that my units can move faster. Might as well get that in for now. Also, radar. I should probably make sure I've got radar. Kind of a big thing back in World War II. Yes, yeah, I've got radar. I'll stick one up in the Highlands as well. Also, let's give Gibraltar a radar system. Be a good idea. I found out recently, actually, that some planes, a few of them, like the Blenheims, actually had integrated radar systems in them. But it was very, very rare for radar systems to actually be put in planes, because obviously you didn't want the technology to survive. An awful lot of planes would be shot down, and you don't necessarily want that technology to fall into the wrong hands. It would also then destroy this idea that the reason why Britain could see in the dark was because they ate a lot of carrots. The interesting thing about radar, it was invented by a team of weathermen, and it wasn't actually meant to be a system for looking for planes. It was actually meant to be a system for killing pilots. They wanted a microwave weapon to shoot down aircraft. No, or kill the pilots in the aircraft so that they would fall to the ground. No. Yeah. If you are interested in radar, there's quite a good dramatisation of it called Castles in the Sky. And it was about the radar development. Can't remember if it was BBC or not, but yeah. It's around if you want to check that one out. But like quite a lot of British inventions, complete accident. They reckoned that they could spot planes using waves, and it worked. It worked. Right, let's fortify the rock. Kind of important to do, otherwise Gibraltar will be taken. Something that happens even now, even today. Every so often a ship needs to be sent down to Spain just to kind of, remind the Spanish that actually Gibraltar is not theirs. It's a bit ridiculous, really. An awful lot of these things are completely ridiculous. I mean, look at Catalan at the moment. It's kind of a good example of stuff that should never really happen. If they want independence, if they want to do a thing, a referendum, let them do the referendum without police brutality, and then see what happens. Because chances are, if you've got police brutality going on in a state, they're going to want to leave even more. So, yay. It's like what we did with the Falklands, actually. Falklands, I think it was due to pressure from Argentina, basically saying, you should give them a referendum, see if they want to leave. So they had a referendum, and they decided they wanted to stay sort of within the British arm of protection. They have their own governments, but they're just basically under the umbrella of protection of the British Army. Right. dispersed industry always seems like a better idea, because you don't particularly want to clump all your industry together, especially considering the bombing situation of World War II. I.e., you're perfectly safe if you stand on next to what the target is meant to be. Right. Okay. Political. Quartermaster General always seems like a good idea, though. I mean, I'm not building a huge amount of that, really. Maybe, what am I researching at the moment? At this stage, I think shipbuilders. Let's get those guys. They've got the least amount of negatives. There we go. Then we get Soviet class. I had earlier I was trying to build a King George, and it came up on the thing as this will be completed in 190 years. Oh, great! It's because I'd run out of materials, and so everything was basically dragging on until it finished another battleship, and suddenly I had the materials to make it in about a year, or make it in about 4 years, I think it was. Right, okay, conflict in China is indeed concerning. I can't speak tonight. Okay, home defence would be an idea. And then we can later lead into gas masks. Oh, Japan just declared war on China. And oddly, this time it's Japan that's being a little aggressive. Over here, wherever they are. So there's some little wars popping up, but nothing major yet. Next political power should increase my conscription, so that I've got because I don't have the manpower to build what I need, unfortunately. 1.10% of eligible core population eligible. That's not enough at all. Yeah, because I'm on volunteer only, so I'm 1.5%, which is nothing. And I need to be starting to go to details. Do I have any naval doctrine? This one's actually pretty decent. Let's do that. Uh, 1937. Let's get production efficiency cap up, and I should also now have some more production. That's the one. Let's bump that up. Oh, I can't bump that up because I don't have the... I need to actually build the factories first. That would be an idea. Right, so let's start getting military... some synthetic refinery up in the Highlands. So then it's far away from bombers. Let's get military factories up in the north. So pretty much down here is going to be defences. And then up in the north, far from bombers, will be my vast bulk of my industry, as that's actually pretty much how it handled before. The north was where you put your airstrips and the like, because it wasn't being constantly bombed. Actually, quite interestingly, Dover Straits here, and I think it was Calais? Must have been there, yeah. So these two areas, they were close enough for each country to put in artillery cannons and shell the other side. So you just had a constant barrage coming from between Dover and Calais of, oh god, lots of stuff. Stuff that has happened. Yeah. Issue gas masks, that gets me base Unity. And then I think the next one, the Military Training Act gets rid of the War to End All Wars, which does a debuff. Yeah. Effective total manpower modified to 75% due to the War to End All Wars. So Military Training Act actually gets rid of that. So that's obviously quite a good one to go down if, well, just in general really. Because I've got a serious manpower problem. I've also been tempted to do some RimWorld. I might try that on Friday. I'm experimenting a little. Half-Life will continue, Sunday probably, but I don't know. A bit of a change of pace is sometimes needed. It's not like I'm doing incredibly weird stuff at the moment, like Nerdcube. I do like Nerdcube's sort of new style of videos. They're quite weird, and weird isn't bad. Alright, that's going to be ready in 4 months. I may as well just wait that one out and then upgrade that later to what, Surrey class is what I just did. Yeah, I think it was the Surrey wait, what? I'm making an Anthon class? It's not on here. It must be something reasonably small. I don't know really. Right, so I can't be. Let's get a King George. Oh no, I'm already researching the King George. Let's get the T-class submarine. Well, when I say T-class submarine, the first T-class, possibly. Oh, my voice has gone again. Yeah. Because of course Britain are still using T-class submarines, just the newer nuclear powered version. Trafalgar, though they are on their way out, the Astute is going to take over. Now, new sneaky submarines. I didn't quite notice that. Yeah, I've finished. Right, national focus. Can't do that one yet because the world isn't basically at war yet. That gets. I'm gonna do fortify East Asia, so that will start building up my capabilities. I know about that one. And let's get dispersed industry 2 up. Right, I can cancel that one. I've got 5 points actually to spend, and I'm going to do that on my motorised division. No, not train and motorised division. I want to edit my motorised division, and I'm going to add another motorised infantry. Save that. Just make them a little bit bigger. Not that I can really support that at the moment. Yeah, the military factories are not quite ready yet. Details. Centurion class. Were they? Oh yeah, they were never built. Quite a lot of this stuff that we're researching here, it was never built. It was sort of a hypothetical, or you know, they designed it and then they didn't have the materials to actually make them. Let's get construction 2 up. Doing quite a lot of construction stuff this time around. Right. Okay, limited conscription. So that bumps it up by 1%. And suddenly I have all the manpower I need. And it's now a case of making the weapons and, you know, starting to get the workforce, war work and all that going. Something that you have to, you know, is actually quite good in the country. And this idea of war work where people would be essentially assigned work. It could be something as simple as working in a fish storage area, you know, but it meant that everybody was doing something for the war effort. Even if you were just collecting scrap, it was all useful work. And when you've got a small island nation like this, you need to basically find something for everyone to do. If you're not training to fight, then you're, you know, you're doing something at least. Okay, fortify East Asia. That adds 3 coastal forts to that. I'm very tempted to do air defense because that adds maximum. That does something, you know, it builds basically all the AI. Yeah, we've got Skynet now. No, it builds all the AA along the place where all the aircraft are going to be coming from, basically. So it's good to do. Let's just slow that one down for a moment. And as that sorts out carriers. That beefs up my convoys, which would be an idea actually, because again, island nation, you're going to be relying on convoys. Yeah, I'll say, yes. And in 2019, we'll probably be relying on convoys as well. From God knows where. It ain't going to be from over there. I didn't estimate that. Not the way that things are going at the moment. I'm still reasonably, I guess, jovial. It's a bit of dark humour, really, where the EU is concerned. I think it's a pretty decent thing, all in all, and I find it ridiculous that the United Kingdom would be leaving it. So what you want, really, is the world to be separated into trading blocks. Trade. They trade with one another. And, you know, you've got a little bit of rivalry between the trading blocks. Basically, so that you don't have war. Okay. So, yeah. Oh god, France wants to join the Allies. Oh. We are bastions of democracy and liberty in Europe. Yeah, let's get a bit of an ally going. I think the Czechs... Ooh. We're going to basically defend the Czech, I think. I like the Czech Republic. Well, what was Czechoslovakia. Went there a long time ago. Really nice country. Let's see. Burma Road would probably be useful. Let's build Burma Road. And So if you're new here, basically what I do is I do roughly about an hour stream. I say roughly, it's usually ends up being a little bit more by a few minutes or so. I don't tend to do more than that, but I do them about 4 times a week at the moment. 4 times? Yeah, Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday usually. Sometimes I might miss one out if I'm not feeling great, but like exceptionally tired or exceptionally ill. But usually I'll be streaming something. It may not be this, it may be something else, but I will usually be streaming something. I do like to mix it up. Right. So we are now at war with Germany, which means we are going to have an interesting time. I need my military factories up. I need some more civilian factories so I can build the military factories. We've got our T-class subs. We're not 1940s yet, so Ark Royal can come up. And right, so if we are at war with Germany, now Germany has some ports, not many, but it does have some. I think what we need to do is do a search and destroy in the eastern northern sea. See, I want to get some sea superiority in this area. Because, as I said, they have some ports, which means that, and if I can take a port, then I can deploy my units at that port. That's why we want to go for ports rather than just general landing zones. It's why, actually, when Britain invaded, Normandy Beach, yep, they took their port with them. They built concrete barges, and then they sunk them for a little bit until the invasion was ready. When the invasion was ready, they popped them up, they towed them all over to Normandy, and after the invasion had happened and the breakout had gone on, the docks were built, temporary docks were built so that they could offload the troops straight onto the beach and up the beach and into the breakout. And yeah, again, another absolutely brilliant British invention. It was probably invented by accident, but you know, always good. Right, I'm going to start assembling an army out of the various units that I've got dotted around. So all of these are going to be in this division here. I'm going to set up a naval invasion order for a naval base. Yeah, I want the naval base. That would be fine. Okay. So that is going to take 49 days. Oh god, I've got all this except that. Yep. Everyone can join. Lend-Lease, yep. Air wings. Okay, we've got some air wings that need to be assigned and deployed. Where are we? So I want to just start strategic bombing, basically, of northern. Wait, no, not northern France, western Germany, and let's also get some strategic bombing over northwest Germany, so we can hit the factories and destroy them, basically. And from there, I think I'm going to end. We've been going on for about an hour now, so with that, I think I will say thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Oh god, no, wait. Technical difficulties again. This is actually quite interesting. This is why I used to call this Panic at the Stream, because something would always go horribly wrong, and I think I might go back to Panic at the Stream. But anyway, thanks very much for watching. I'll see you next time.